Hi, I'm Gabby's dad. To understand my career path, you have to start out with my parents. My dad grew up in the Great Depression, and as a kid, he did whatever he had to help his family. When I was growing up, I can remember him talking about uh, the little things he would do around the house to make money, or he would go down to the train station and they'd be dropping like lettuce or ice and stuff, and he'd go and he'd pick it up and take it back to his house. And he had a really hard work ethic. He was in the military, and then he got out and worked at the post office, and he used to work 11 hours a day. um, and then even after he'd get out of work and after he retired, he would always pick up little side businesses. And I think that's where I got a lot of my entrepreneurial uh, skills, ambition. And my mom, she had a different story. She grew up in a small village in El Salvador with very little and only about a third grade education. Later in life, she moved to San Francisco where she worked as the Brazilian consul. And that's where she met my dad. She was a stay-at-home mom for four boys, and she did the best that she could to run the house and made our clothes and cooked all our meals. Really had us on a shoestring budget. So growing up, I saw two things: my dad working hard outside the house, and my mom holding everything together at home. As a young child, I had a lot of freedom to do whatever I wanted, and unfortunately, that wasn't uh, very productive for me. I ended up going to an alternative school. I graduated when I was 17, and I always knew that I would be going into the Army. And it was really a big adjustment for me to go from having no supervision to going into the Army where they're controlling every minute. I was 17 years old, and it took me, at first it was a big adjustment, but once I got accustomed to it, I really excelled. After the 3 years I spent in the Army, I came home and I worked in my dad's business. I helped him grow it from a really small business into a larger business. And working for my dad just didn't really work out for me. So I decided to go to school, and I went to the local technical vocational institute where I learned electronic repair. And I did that for a good 20 years. But I still had that entrepreneur blood. I would always, even after when I'd go to work and then I'd get out of work, I'd go do a couple jobs after work or on the weekends. And so, I still had that entrepreneur blood, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do. And then I found the auctions, and that was the coolest thing because they'd go buy something for, you know, $100 and sell it for 1,000, and that turned out to be pretty good. So I remember uh, Gabby, this one particular time, Gabby and I, we used to go to the scrapyard, and there was a dumpster, and Gabby climbed up on one side, and I climbed up on the other. And looking back, it probably wasn't my best parenting moment to let, I don't know, she was probably 10 years old, to let a 10-year-old crawl around in these big old dumpsters with metal objects in them. But anyway, she grabs this piece of bag and holds it up and says, "Daddy, Daddy, is this good?" And I'm like, "Man, yeah, that was a great part." So she had an eye for business even way back then, and for pick things out. Um, but anyway, I ended up leaving, working for somebody else, and I started my business. I grew it till I had about 25 employees, and in three different states and customers all around the world. I had a lot of travel. It was a big sacrifice. We had a lot of travel. And like my dad used to say, as an entrepreneur, you only work half days. You just get to pick which half, the first half or the second half.